Are you just watching this for the first time? Kindly hit subscribe button to be alert for more dropping stories and learn more about true life story. Thank you. If you're hearing this broadcast, hit subscribe before the signal dies, because after tonight, there might not be anyone left to hear it. The first emergency alert went out at 11:58 p.m. across every radio frequency on the East Coast. A robotic female voice repeated the same message on loop. This is not a test. Shelter in place. Await government instruction. No one knew where it came from. Not the radio stations, not the police, not even the emergency services. It just appeared, untraceable, unregistered, and identical on every signal. By 12:07 a.m., the audio changed. The calm, robotic tone cracked, replaced by static and faint human voices in the background. A man whispered something that sounded like they're in the streets. Then a scream cut through, sharp and real, followed by silence. Local news stations scrambled to cover the story. Power grids began flickering across multiple states. In rural areas, people reported hearing sirens that weren't coming from any direction, long, echoing wails that seemed to move through the air itself. In Pine Hollow, a quiet town in West Virginia, radio hobbyist Eli Sanders was one of the first to record the full transmission. His basement was cluttered with transmitters, antennas, and old emergency scanners. When the frequency changed, he heard something no one else did. This is Command Post 47. Do not engage. Containment has failed at. The voice cut off. Then another voice, panicked, closer to the microphone. They are not people anymore. Repeat, they are not. Eli replayed the recording 3 times, heart pounding. Outside, the neighborhood was completely silent except for the wind pushing at the window panes. Then, faintly, he heard something new, not from the radio, but from down the street. A distant siren. Then another. Then another. He rushed upstairs, camera in hand, and looked out his window. In the distance, faint red lights flashed through the fog. A convoy of military trucks rolled past, unmarked and completely silent except for the hum of engines. He started filming, whispering to his camera, "This is real. Something's happening." At 12:22 a.m., a loud bang echoed through the valley, followed by a flash of orange light. The power grid collapsed instantly. Every light in town went out. Only Eli's shortwave radio stayed alive, powered by a backup battery. Static filled the air for a few seconds. Then came the sound of a woman breathing, ragged and terrified. If anyone's listening, this isn't a virus. It's changing them. Her voice broke mid-sentence, followed by wet, choking sounds and something heavy hitting the floor. The audio cut, replaced by distant screaming, hundreds of voices merging into one horrific, echoing sound. Then silence again. Eli stepped outside, camera still rolling. The air smelled like smoke and ozone. In the far distance, just past the ridge, he saw what looked like fire, but the flames weren't orange. They were green, flickering unnaturally against the night sky. His radio crackled one last time. The robotic voice returned, distorted now, overlapping with faint whispers. This broadcast will repeat until there is no one left to hear it. The recording ended there. By 1:03 a.m., the emergency signal had spread worldwide. Major cities across the US and Europe reported simultaneous outages. Power grids flickered and died in London, Paris, and Chicago. The same eerie transmission bled through every frequency. Shelter in place. This is not a test. Only this time, there was something new beneath the robotic voice, faint whispers, like dozens of people speaking over each other in another language. Eli Sanders sat alone in his dark basement, surrounded by static screens and half-lit transmitters. The backup generator hummed faintly. Every few seconds, the radio would spike with distortion. Each burst carried fragments of human sound, cries, orders, gunfire, and then something else, snarling. He hit record again. "This isn't a broadcast," he said quietly. "It's a loop, like it's being played back through something that's not human." Outside, Pine Hollow was no longer silent. Distant pops echoed through the valley, car alarms, collapsing metal, and the hollow thud of something massive hitting the ground. Through his small window, Eli could see fog creeping up the hillside. It wasn't natural fog, it moved like smoke, twisting against the wind. He climbed the stairs cautiously and peeked outside. The street was littered with scattered debris, open doors, dropped groceries, a single overturned bike. The green glow on the horizon was brighter now, pulsing every few seconds like a heartbeat. Then, out of the static, a voice spoke again, but this time, clear. A man's voice, hoarse and panicked. "If you're hearing this, the outbreak's not viral, it's sonic. It's in the signal." Eli froze. "In the signal," he whispered to himself. "They hear it first," the voice continued. "Then they repeat it. Then they become it." The line went dead. Suddenly, Eli's TV, which had been off, turned on by itself. The same emergency alert filled the screen, but the voice wasn't robotic anymore. It was human. A woman's voice, calm, almost soothing. "Eli Sanders, you are not in danger. Please stay tuned." He stumbled backward, staring in disbelief. The voice had said his name. The screen glitched, showing a blurred face for half a second, eyes completely black, a faint smile flickering at the corner of its mouth. The power surged. Every device in the room came alive: radio, scanner, television, all blaring at once, overlapping frequencies screaming the same message. "Stay where you are. We are here now." The walls began to vibrate. Outside, a sound like 1,000 cicadas filled the air. Eli covered his ears, but the noise wasn't just sound anymore. It was inside his head, pulsing through his skull like a heartbeat. Then, as suddenly as it began, everything stopped. The TV went black. The radio fell silent. The fog outside froze mid-drift, perfectly still. Eli picked up his camera, trembling. "If anyone finds this footage," he whispered, "turn off your radios. Don't listen to the broadcast. It's not a warning." He turned toward the basement stairs as a low, wet whisper echoed from the dark. "It's an invitation." The recording from Eli Sanders' basement was found 2 days later, uploaded anonymously to the dark web. The video was grainy, flickering between frames of static and shaky camera angles. The audio was warped, almost like it was being played through underwater speakers. It began at 1:47 a.m., the timestamp still visible at the corner of the screen. Eli's breathing was shallow, erratic. His face was pale and drenched in sweat. Behind him, his equipment flickered with faint green light, though the power had supposedly gone out hours earlier. "I've been hearing it for hours," he said, voice trembling. "It's not a virus. It's not biological. It's in the airwaves. It travels through anything that transmits sound. It learns." He turned the camera toward his radio. The dial moved on its own, slowly rotating back to the same frequency he'd tried to block, 107.3 FM. The static cleared for a moment, revealing faint, rhythmic breathing, then the same soft, feminine voice that had spoken his name earlier. "We told you to stay tuned." Eli stumbled backward, knocking over a tripod. The noise echoed unnaturally, looping and repeating. Every sound doubled, then tripled, feeding back into itself like the room was alive. "You can't stop it once you've heard it," the voice said. "You're already part of the signal." Eli screamed, covering his ears, but the sound didn't come from the radio anymore. It was inside the walls, vibrating through the concrete. His lights flickered once more, then turned red, bathing the room in a sickly glow. The feed glitched for 10 full seconds, just static and faint digital distortion. Then the camera autofocused again, but Eli was gone. Only the empty chair remained in front of the radio, spinning slowly. A faint echo came through the speakers, sounding like dozens of overlapping voices whispering in perfect unison. "We are the broadcast now." The camera jerked suddenly, turning toward the basement door. Through the small glass window, something was visible, dozens of silhouettes standing outside in the fog, motionless. Their shapes were human, but their heads twitched slightly in perfect rhythm, as if syncing to some invisible pulse. Then, one by one, they began repeating the words Eli had said minutes earlier. "If anyone finds this footage, don't listen to the broadcast." Their voices layered over each other, glitching, looping, louder each second until it became a roar of white noise. The final minute of the footage was nothing but static. Then, at the very end, the camera caught one last image, a close-up of a face pressed against the glass from outside. Eyes black, mouth open. It smiled. Then the screen went black. The authorities never confirmed whether Eli's broadcast was real. All they said was that the frequency 107.3 FM was permanently jammed across the US and Europe after that night. But weeks later, at 3:12 a.m., listeners in several states reported their car radios switching on by themselves, all playing the same faint, looping message. "This is the last broadcast before the outbreak. Stay tuned." And then, silence.